The history of the Moors is deeply intertwined with the world's most influential religions, hidden and often misunderstood. Indeed, to delve into the annals of history and uncover the hidden chronicles of the Moors is to embark on a journey through the winding corridors of time where the sacred and the secular merge. Their narrative is not merely a record of conquests and reigns but a rich tapestry where diverse cultures and beliefs entwine. One cannot help but ponder, what secrets lie hidden in the intertwining paths of history and religion involving the Moors? This question beckons us to explore further, to lift the veil from centuries-long past and glimpse the mosaic of human interaction and divine influence. As we wander through these shadowed hallways of history, let us hold close the wisdom found in sacred scripture, for where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. Matthew chapter 6 verse 21. This verse serves as a compass, guiding our hearts and minds to discern the true treasures amidst the historical chronicles before us. In the dusty annals of history, one must turn to key historical texts to illuminate the enigmatic presence of the Moors. To discover their hidden influences, one needs to look beyond mere chronicles and delve into the interpretive works that may lead us to the core of their legacy. The Chronicles of Al-Andalus, the land that thrived under Moorish rule, offer profound insights. These texts, often cloaked in the mystique of their era, paint a vivid tapestry of life amongst the Moors. For instance, Ibn Hayyan's works, Al-Muqtabis, and Kitab al-Matan, though fragmented, form a mosaic of history that scholars have painstakingly pieced together. They recount the grandeur of Córdoba and describe the splendor of the Medinat al-Zahra, speaking of a time when the Moors were at the zenith of their cultural and intellectual prowess. These chronicles are not merely dry recountings of dates and events. They shimmer with the lives of people who walked their pages. Hear the echoes of al-Walid's campaigns, the wisdom of caliphs like Abd al-Rahman III, who brought unity and prosperity, transcending tribal conflicts and fostering a golden age in the Iberian Peninsula. It is within these texts that one finds the portrayal of the Moors both as conquerors and as wise administrators. The intricate details of their judicial systems, agricultural advancements, and scientific contributions are laid bare, demonstrating a civilization that was, in many ways, ahead of its time. Yet, these texts are not without their biases. While they laud the achievements of the Moors, there are also interpretations from Christian and Jewish scribes who viewed the Moorish expansion through a prism of conflict and subjugation. The Chronicles of Rodrigo Jiménez de Rada, for instance, depict a more belligerent aspect of the Moorish presence, contrasting sharply with the Moorish narratives of progress and enlightenment. These varying interpretations compel us to approach historical texts with a discerning eye. They urge us to recognize that history is often a patchwork of perspectives, where truth may lie somewhere between the sewn seams of competing narratives. It is through this balanced lens that one must seek to understand the portrayal of the Moors. As we continue to uncover these ancient texts, we see not just the story of a people long past, but the interplay of cultures, ideas, and faiths that have, in many ways, shaped the world we inhabit today. The Chronicles of Al-Andalus are but a gateway. Interpretations found within them are the keys that unlock a deeper understanding of the Moors' enduring legacy. The story of the Moors, dear reader, is one that stretches across time and continents, a tale rich in both grandeur and tragedy. Our journey begins in the sweeping sands and rugged terrains of North Africa, where the Moors, primarily Berbers, resided. These hardy and resilient people embraced Islam in the 7th and 8th centuries, adding a new dimension to their vibrant culture and way of life. From this origin, driven by faith and a quest for expansion, the Moors set their sights on the Iberian Peninsula. In 711 AD, under the leadership of the daring and astute general, Tariq ibn Ziyad, they crossed the narrow strait that separates Africa from Europe. The night sky bore witness to a legendary tale of resolve and destiny as Tariq, upon landing, supposedly ordered the burning of their ships, a profound gesture to signify that retreat was not an option. Their fate lay ahead, within the heartlands of Iberia. With remarkable speed and finesse, the Moors advanced through the peninsula, encountering and often outmaneuvering the Visigothic rulers of the time. Their initial foothold at Algeciras soon spread into a burgeoning presence, bringing with it waves of culture, knowledge, and innovation. The capture of key cities like Córdoba and Toledo marked the establishment of Al-Andalus, a realm where art, science, and philosophy flourished alongside the hustle and bustle of everyday life. For centuries, Al-Andalus stood as a beacon of learning and coexistence. The cities became melting pots of diverse cultures where Muslims, Christians, and Jews coexisted, engaged in trade, and exchanged ideas. This era, often termed the Golden Age, saw unparalleled advances in mathematics, medicine, astronomy, and literature. The grand architectural feats, from the breathtaking columns of the Great Mosque of Córdoba to the ethereal beauty of the Alhambra, are silent yet eloquent testaments to this vibrant period. However, history's wheel never ceases to turn. The Reconquista, a protracted and intense campaign by Christian kingdoms to reclaim the peninsula, gradually eroded Moorish rule. Over several centuries, the Moorish stronghold diminished, culminating in 1492 with the fall of Granada, the last bastion of Moorish sovereignty, into the hands of Ferdinand and Isabella, the Catholic monarchs. Thus began the end of an era and the dawn of another. The Moors, once proud rulers and benefactors of a rich and complex civilization, faced expulsion. Many sought refuge in North Africa, carrying with them memories of a land that had become their own. For those who remained, a period of persecution and forced conversions lay ahead, shadowing the luminous legacy of their presence. In reflecting upon the Moors' historical journey, we see more than mere conquest and conflict. We glimpse an intricate tapestry woven with threads of human endeavor, resilience, and the unquenchable pursuit of knowledge and harmony. Their story serves as a poignant reminder of the transience of power and the enduring impact of cultural synthesis and intellectual exchange. In the vast, winding corridors of history, the story of the Moors stands as a testament to the intricate and vibrant tapestry woven by diverse cultures coming together. When we speak of the Moors, we cannot ignore the rich cultural context in which their narrative is enshrined. From their origins in North Africa to their significant footprint on the Iberian Peninsula, the Moors were, in many ways, a confluence of various traditions, beliefs, and practices that they seamlessly integrated or profoundly influenced. Picture a bustling marketplace in Córdoba, a city under Moorish rule. Here, you would find traders from across the known world, Berbers from the Maghreb dealing in spices, Christian merchants exchanging goods, Jewish scholars debating theology, and Muslim philosophers engrossed in their studies. This vivid tableau is a glimpse into the intercultural exchanges that characterized Moorish society. The Moors, with their keen intellect and open hearts, absorbed the best of what various cultures had to offer, creating a society that was as intellectually stimulating as it was diverse. At the heart of this cultural blend were the Moors' own traditions, deeply rooted in their North African heritage and enriched by the influence of Islamic scholarship. But their openness to the world around them meant that they were equally profound recipients of Western Christian and Jewish thought and aesthetics. They did not merely conquer lands and peoples, they engaged with them, learning and imparting knowledge, philosophies, and artistic expressions in a way that was both inclusive and expansive. One of the notable aspects of Moorish culture was their reverence for knowledge and education. They established institutions of learning, such as the famous Library of Córdoba, which housed hundreds of thousands of manuscripts. Scholars of different backgrounds were welcomed, and their works reflected a fusion of Greco-Roman, Persian, Indian, and pre-Islamic pagan sciences and philosophies. It is no exaggeration to say that the intellectual vigor of Moorish society played a critical role in the preservation and enhancement of classical knowledge, which would later fuel the European Renaissance. The impact of the Moors on the arts is equally fascinating. Their architectural achievements, exemplified by the Alhambra in Granada and the Great Mosque of Córdoba, are masterpieces of intricate design and geometrical precision. These structures did not merely serve religious functions. They were cultural symbols, embodying a unique aesthetic that drew from Islamic, Roman, Gothic, and Visigothic styles. The delicate arches, the expansive courtyards, the play of light and shadow, all these elements merged to create spaces that were as spiritually uplifting as they were visually stunning. The influence of the Moors on music and poetry cannot be overstated. Andalusian music, characterized by its rhythmic complexity and emotive melodies, finds its roots in Moorish musical traditions. Poetry flourished in this cultural milieu, with poets crafting verses that explored themes of love, spirituality, and the beauty of the natural world. These artistic expressions were shared across religious and cultural lines, fostering a sense of common humanity amidst diversity. The legacy of the Moors also extends to culinary traditions. They introduced new agricultural techniques and crops to the Iberian Peninsula, such as citrus fruits, rice, and various spices. The culinary fusion that emerged from this period is a delightful testament to the cultural exchanges that took place. Dishes that combined ingredients and cooking methods from different traditions, creating flavors that were both novel and familiar. In their administrative practices, the Moors showed a remarkable degree of pragmatism and inclusivity. They often retained existing local structures and officials, integrating them into their governance while introducing their own legal and administrative systems. This pragmatic approach not only facilitated smoother rule but also allowed for a degree of cultural continuity and mutual respect. In conclusion, the cultural context of the Moors is a rich, multifaceted tapestry that reveals the depth of their integration and influence. They were not mere conquerors. They were cultivators of knowledge, patrons of the arts, innovators in agriculture, and models of inclusive governance. Their legacy is a profound reminder of the beauty and strength that arise from cultural confluence and cooperation. Our exploration of the Moors' history through the lens of cultural context offers invaluable insights into the enduring significance of their contributions to the world's heritage. It is a curious thing, dear reader, to journey back into the annals of history and uncover the lives of those who have trodden paths so unlike our own. Among the Moors, a people who left an indelible mark on both North Africa and the Iberian Peninsula, we find figures whose deeds echo through the corridors of time with resounding significance. Two such figures are Tariq ibn Ziyad and al-Hakam II. Imagine, if you will, a time of great uncertainty and opportunity, a world where the lines between nations and cultures were fluid, and the future was anything but certain. It was into this maelstrom that Tariq ibn Ziyad thrust himself, an intrepid warrior whose name has become synonymous with the Moorish conquest of the Iberian Peninsula. In the year 711, Tariq ibn Ziyad, leading a relatively small force by today's standards but significant in those times, crossed the strait that would later bear his name, Gibraltar. This momentous expedition was not merely a military maneuver but a catalyst for centuries of Islamic influence in Europe. Tariq's crossing was shrouded in lore, and one of the most striking tales is his alleged speech to his troops upon reaching the shores of Europe, where he is said to have burned his ships to eliminate any thoughts of retreat. Brothers, behind you is the sea, before you, the enemy. Only bravery and victory lie between you and a return to the safety of your homes, he is reported to have declared. Tariq's leadership and bravery brought about the swift downfall of the Visigothic kingdom, a turning point that reshaped the destiny of Iberia. His actions set the stage for the establishment of Al-Andalus, a realm where diverse cultures would intertwine, bringing about a flourishing of knowledge, art, and tolerance seldom seen. Centuries later, in the midst of Al-Andalus's golden age, another figure would rise to prominence, Al-Hakam II. Unlike Tariq's warrior spirit, Al-Hakam IA's contributions were those of a patron of the arts, a lover of books, and a ruler of exceptional intellect. Under his reign, which began in 961, Córdoba, the capital of Al-Andalus, reached unprecedented cultural and intellectual heights. Al-Hakam II was not just a ruler. He was a bibliophile whose passion for knowledge knew no bounds. He transformed Córdoba into a beacon of learning, commissioning the construction of libraries that housed hundreds of thousands of manuscripts. His court became a haven for scholars, poets, and scientists from across the known world, fostering an environment where Muslim, Christian, and Jewish intellectuals could collaborate and exchange ideas freely. The Great Mosque of Córdoba, already a marvel of Islamic architecture, saw further expansion under Al-Hakam II. This magnificent structure did not merely serve as a place of worship but as a symbol of the confluence of faith and knowledge. Under his guidance, the mosque became an architectural testament to the possibilities of human creativity and devotion. The legacy of Al-Hakam II is one of enlightenment and tolerance. His reign exemplifies the heights that can be reached when a ruler prioritizes the pursuit of knowledge and the well-being of his people over conquest and domination. Al-Hakam IA's contributions laid the groundwork for a society that celebrated learning and cultural exchange, leaving an indelible mark on both Moorish and European civilizations. Through the lives and deeds of Tariq ibn Ziyad and Al-Hakam II, we see a tapestry of bravery and intellect, war and peace, interwoven to create a legacy that transcends their respective eras. Their stories remind us that history is not merely a series of events but a rich narrative shaped by the vision and actions of extraordinary individuals. In understanding their contributions, we not only learn more about the past but also gain insights into the enduring impact of cultural and intellectual exchanges on the world we know today. In the labyrinthine annals of history, there perhaps exists no more fascinating period than the one known as convivencia in Moorish Spain. This term, convivencia, signifies a time of remarkable coexistence amongst Muslims, Christians, and Jews. It is often heralded as a golden era wherein the three Abrahamic faiths lived in a relative harmony that is as rare in history as it is illuminating. During this epoch, Moorish Spain became a prolific crucible of theological dialogue, enriching and shaping religious thought in ways that would echo through the ages. Imagine for a moment the bustling streets of Córdoba or Granada, where one might encounter a mosque standing beside a church, and not far off, a synagogue. The air would be filled with the sounds of the adhan, the Islamic call to prayer, intermingling with church bells and the Hebrew melodies of the Psalms. This was a milieu ripe for intellectual and spiritual cross-pollination. It was within this vibrant tapestry that theological paradigms began to shift. The Moors, in their wisdom, adopted an inclusive approach to governance. They allowed the people of the book, Christians and Jews, to maintain their religious autonomy. These communities were granted protection under Islamic law, and in return, they offered their wisdom, arts, and sciences to the broader society. This arrangement was more than mere tolerance. It was a dynamic interplay that enriched all parties involved. Take, for instance, the dialogue between Islamic and Christian scholars. Muslim theologians drew from the works of Greek philosophers, which had been preserved and expanded upon through Arabic translations. These texts soon found their way into the hands of Christian scholars who could now delve into Aristotle and Plato in ways that their predecessors had only dreamed. This intellectual exchange spurred the scholastic movement in Europe, catalyzing a renaissance of learning. Furthermore, the Jewish community flourished under Moorish rule, producing luminaries such as Maimonides. Moses Maimonides, a rabbi, physician, and philosopher, was influenced by the rationalism of Islamic philosophers like Averroes. His works melded Jewish theology with Aristotelian philosophy, creating a synthesis that was as profound as it was enduring. His Guide for the Perplexed remains a seminal text in Jewish thought, illustrating the indelible impact of this period of coexistence. One cannot overlook the theological concept these interactions brought forth, the notion of a shared Abrahamic tradition. While each faith maintained its doctrinal distinctiveness, there was an acknowledgement of a common spiritual heritage. This fostered a level of mutual respect and an openness to dialogue that was quite revolutionary for its time. The idea that there could be unity within diversity, that different faiths could learn from one another without losing their identities, was a powerful testament to the spiritual maturity of the era. Of course, this harmony was not without its challenges. There were periods of tension and conflict, as there inevitably are when different cultures and religions come into close contact. Yet, the enduring legacy of convivencia lies in its demonstration that coexistence and collaboration are not only possible but can lead to a flourishing of human thought and culture. In reflecting on this period, one must consider the profound theological impacts. The interfaith exchanges in Moorish Spain did not merely coexist in a vacuum but significantly shaped the religious thought and practices of each tradition. The Christian reconquest of Spain, which culminated in 1492, brought an end to this chapter of convivencia, but the seeds sown during this time had already borne fruit. The spirit of Moorish Spain's convivencia offers a poignant lesson for modern times. In an age often characterized by division and misunderstanding among different faiths, the legacy of this period teaches us the value of seeking common ground. It encourages us to engage in dialogue, to learn from one another, and to enrich our spiritual lives through mutual respect and understanding. Thus, as we ponder the theological impacts of convivencia, let us strive to emulate its principles. May we foster communities where diversity is celebrated and where the exchange of ideas enlightens us all. For in doing so, we honor not only the memory of those remarkable times but also the divine call for unity amidst diversity. Many are the scholars who have risen amidst the sands of history, their names echoing through time like calls upon the wind. Among them, two figures stand prominently under the banner of Moorish rule: Averroes, known also as Ibn Rushd, and Maimonides. Ibn Rushd, a man whose name adorned the realms of philosophy, medicine, and law, was born in the city of Córdoba in the 12th century. His works, suffused with reason and inquiry, sought to bridge the wisdom of the ancients with the burgeoning scholastic traditions of Europe. To him, Aristotle was not merely a philosopher of the past but a beacon illuminating the path to knowledge. He believed deeply in the harmony of faith and reason, conceiving that true religious faith was not in opposition to rational thought but rather complemented it. His extensive commentaries on Aristotle traversed the intellectual landscapes of both the Islamic and Christian worlds. They were received with such reverence that he was named the commentator, a paragon whose interpretations held the key to understanding the Greek philosopher. For Averroes, the pursuit of truth was a divine mandate. he postulated that through logical examination and contemplation, one could arrive closer to the divine. As his thoughts permeated through the corridors of European universities, Averroes played an instrumental role in shaping the Western philosophical tradition. His insistence that knowledge derived from empirical observation and rational deduction laid foundational stones for the Renaissance, a period where faith and reason would dare to dance together once more. Equally significant is the scholar Maimonides, known also as Rabbi Moshe ben Maimon. A figure of monumental stature in Jewish thought, Maimonides, much like his Islamic counterpart, lived amidst the cultural confluence of Moorish Spain. Born in Córdoba, his family fled from persecution, leading him ultimately to the humbling sands of Egypt. There, he became a physician, philosopher, and legal scholar of unparalleled wisdom. His magnum opus, The Guide for the Perplexed, was a beacon of light for those ensnared in the labyrinth of doubt. In it, he sought to reconcile the apparent contradictions between religious revelation and philosophical reasoning. Maimonides contended that the Torah and the truths of science ultimately derived from the same divine source and that when understood correctly, they were in harmonious accord. As a polymath, Maimonides' expertise was vast. He authored the Mishneh Torah, a code of Jewish law that remains influential to this day. His medical treatises were studied far beyond the confines of his own time and geography, embodying the comprehensive nature of his intellect. To Maimonides, reason was not a threat to faith but rather an ally, one that could illuminate the mind and soul alike. The contributions of Averroes and Maimonides, nurtured under Moorish rule, encapsulate the profound impact of cross-cultural and interfaith dialogues. Their lives and works reflect the rich intellectual tapestry woven during the period of convivencia, where Muslims, Christians, and Jews could exchange ideas and insights. These scholars, whose thoughts traversed the vast terrains of philosophy, law, and medicine, reveal us an era where the pursuit of knowledge was a universal endeavor. Their legacies invite us to look beyond the boundaries of our understanding, urging us to seek wisdom in the confluence of disparate traditions, knowing that truth is a treasure accessible from myriad paths. In the echo of their voices, we hear the call to embrace both faith and reason, to seek knowledge with humility, and to honor the rich heritage of those who came before. For in their quest for understanding, they have left us with a timeless gift: the affirmation that the pursuit of truth, in all its forms, is the noblest endeavor of the human spirit. The narrative of history, dear friends, has oftentimes been akin to a mighty tapestry, where each thread, no matter how slender, contributes to the fullness of the grand design. In the context of the Moors, the traditional views often present them as enlightened rulers whose era of governance was marked by an unprecedented flourishing of knowledge and culture. Let us delve into these arguments with the spirit of an open heart and an inquiring mind. Firstly, it is essential to understand the term enlightened in this historical context. Enlightenment, as we refer to it here, encapsulates a period of intellectual, cultural, and scientific blossoming. The Moors, masters of Al-Andalus, exemplified this through their patronage of the arts, sciences, and extensive libraries that rivaled those of any contemporary civilization. One cannot begin without mentioning the establishment of the great city of Córdoba. Under the Moors, Córdoba shone like a beacon of knowledge and learning across the medieval world. It was the cradle of numerous advances in medicine, astronomy, mathematics, and philosophy. The city itself, with its multitude of libraries, counted over 400,000 manuscripts, an astonishing number for any period, let alone the medieval age. Among the most significant contributions was the transmission of classical knowledge. The Moors played a pivotal role in preserving and translating the works of ancient Greek and Roman scholars. Figures such as Aristotle, Galen, and Ptolemy, whose works might have otherwise faded into obscurity, found renewed life through the translation efforts at the hands of Moorish scholars. These translations then found their way into the heart of Europe, pulling the continent from the shadows of the so-called Dark Ages into the dawn of the Renaissance. This scholarly hub was not an isolated occurrence within the Moorish territories. Cities like Toledo and Granada followed Córdoba's example, becoming centers for learning and intercultural exchanges. Scholars from various religious backgrounds, Muslims, Christians, and Jews, worked side by side in what could only be described as an intellectual symphony, a convivencia that illustrated the heights humanity could achieve through collaboration and mutual respect. The advancements made under the Moors were not solely limited to the cerebral pursuits. They extended their enlightened governance to infrastructural wonders, aqueducts and roads, stunning architectural marvels like the Alhambra, and innovations in agriculture. The introduction of new crops, irrigation techniques, and agricultural tools enriched the land and provided sustenance for a burgeoning population. Moreover, the ethical dimension of Moorish rule should not be understated. Their legal and civic structures, drawn from Islamic law but also influenced by a pragmatic approach to governance, emphasized justice and social welfare. The Moors implemented systems of welfare that provided for the needy and established hospitals and schools, laying the social framework upon which European institutions later built. One must also commend the Moors for their dedication to the arts. Poetry, music, and visual arts flourished under their patronage. The poetic traditions of the Moors, infused with a mix of Arabic, Hebrew, and Romance languages, contributed formidable works to the annals of world literature. These artistic endeavors were not mere luxuries but integral parts of a society that valued the pursuit of beauty and expression as much as it did empirical knowledge. In the grander scheme of human history, the narrative of the Moors as enlightened rulers serves to remind us of the transformative power of knowledge and culture. Their era embodied the spirit of inquiry and the unity of diverse thoughts and traditions, sparking a continuum of intellectual enlightenment that would transcend the borders of their reign into the fabric of European progression. In conclusion, to regard the Moors merely as conquerors would be a disservice to their legacy. They were indeed heralds of a golden age where the light of learning illuminated the darkest corners of ignorance. Through their enlightened rule, they not only nurtured a flourishing civilization but also laid the foundational stones upon which much of European growth in science, philosophy, and the arts was built. The chronicles of their time, therefore, should inspire us to seek knowledge with fervor and to nurture it with the diligence that our forebears so greatly espoused. The conception of history is often akin to the sediment layers of an ancient oak, each layer a story, each ring a tale, complex in its depth yet legible to the discerning eye. Traditionally, the Moors have been depicted with a dual lens of admiration and vilification. Admiration for their formidable intellectual and architectural achievements, vilification for their roles in conquest and dominion. Yet, permit me to take you on a journey that challenges these entrenched views. Let us explore the narratives that expand beyond the simple dichotomy of conquerors and liberators. In the shadowy and often overlooked corners of history, alternative perspectives await to be unveiled. Perspectives that shed light not only on the Moors themselves but also on the very nature of historical truth. Some historians argue that the label of conqueror unfairly simplifies the intricate and multifaceted interactions between the Moors and the inhabitants of the Iberian Peninsula. Conquest, in this revised view, was not merely an act of domination but a complex process of cultural symbiosis, where the sword was sometimes replaced by the pen, and coercion by cooperation. Consider Alhambra's majestic marvels, the symbol of Moorish architectural prowess. To the traditional vista, it is an imprint of dominance. But under a different lens, it unfolds as an emblem of intercultural dialogue, an edifice where Muslim, Christian, and Jewish artisans collaborated, weaving their distinct influences into a tapestry of unparalleled beauty. Suspended in the delicate balance between mutual influence and inherent tensions were the lives of ordinary people, who navigated the paths of coexistence with resilience and ingenuity. This challenges the notion that the Moors were merely oppressors, suggesting instead that their presence also facilitated a rich and dynamic exchange of ideas. Let us delve deeper into another dimension: the portrayal of Moors in the Chronicles of Al-Andalus. Here lies a significant twist in the narrative. These texts often speak of the Moors not as faceless oppressors but as administrators with a vested interest in the prosperity of their domains. Policies were enacted not just for the glorification of rulers but for the integration and betterment of diverse communities. Additionally, theological discourses were not sterile battlegrounds of dogma but lively arenas where diverse interpretations engaged in spirited dialogue. The concept of convivencia, or coexistence, not only shaped religious thought but also established the Moors as facilitators of a remarkable civilizational synthesis. Such a synthesis precludes the simplistic label of oppression. Furthermore, the realms of scholarship illuminate paths seldom tread by traditional views. Scholars like Averroes, Ibn Rushd, and Maimonides, who thrived under Moorish rule, engaged in intellectual pursuits that transcended religious and cultural boundaries. Their works, far from being instruments of conquest, became bridges connecting disparate worlds, fostering mutual understanding and respect. Archaeological discoveries, too, fortify these revised narratives. The ruins of Medinat al-Zahra speak not only of a city's opulence but of a vibrant society where commerce, art, and politics intermingled freely. These artifacts, silent witnesses of a bygone era, challenge monolithic portrayals and invite us to witness the Moors' legacy with fresh eyes. Indeed, by re-examining historical evidence and adopting multifaceted perspectives, we are urged to reconsider the simplistic binary of Moors as oppressors versus liberators. This nuanced understanding underscores a richer, more intricate narrative, one that acknowledges the Moors' profound and multifarious impact on history. Ultimately, it is in the reconsideration of these traditional views that we discover the potential for a more enlightened understanding of our shared past. An understanding that not only recognizes the Moors' contributions to science, art, and culture but also celebrates the mosaic of human history, where each piece, however complex, contributes to the splendor of the whole. As we embark on a journey to uncover the hidden history of the Moors, it becomes essential to discern their contributions within the broader tapestry of Islamic civilization. The Moorish epic is often celebrated for its profound influence on Europe, especially in terms of knowledge, culture, and science. However, to fully appreciate the significance of their contributions, we must compare them to those from other illustrious Islamic empires, such as the Abbasid Caliphate in Baghdad and the Fatimid Caliphate in Cairo. Baghdad, during the Golden Age of Islam, was a beacon of intellectual and cultural fervor, much like Al-Andalus under the Moors. The House of Wisdom, or Beit al-Hikmah, in Baghdad, was an extraordinary institution where scholars from diverse backgrounds translated and preserved the wisdom of ancient civilizations. Greek, Persian, Indian, and many other sources of knowledge found a home in Baghdad's vibrant scholarly community. Similarly, in Al-Andalus, cities like Córdoba and Toledo became centers where classical knowledge was not only preserved but significantly expanded upon. While the House of Wisdom flourished under the patronage of the Abbasid caliphs, the Moors established their own centers of learning. The University of Córdoba attracted students and scholars from across the known world. Here, the works of Aristotle, Plato, and other classical luminaries were studied meticulously and commented upon, giving rise to a unique blend of Islamic and classical thought known as Latin Averroism, named after the renowned Moorish scholar Averroes, Ibn Rushd. Moving to Cairo, the Fatimid Caliphate stood as another paragon of Islamic ingenuity. The city of Cairo was home to the Al-Azhar University, one of the oldest continuously operating universities in the world. Al-Azhar emerged as a preeminent center of Islamic jurisprudence and theology, shaping the spiritual and intellectual life of the Muslim world. The Moors, likewise, fostered an environment where the interplay of diverse cultures and religions created a robust and dynamic intellectual atmosphere, especially visible in the concept of convivencia, the coexistence of Muslims, Christians, and Jews. Despite these similarities among Islamic empires, each had its unique flavor and emphasis. Baghdad leaned heavily into the sciences and philosophy with contributions from polymaths like Al-Khwarizmi, the father of algebra, whose works eventually found their way into Moorish Spain. The Moors, with their access to both Eastern and Western currents of thought, became crucial transmitters of this knowledge to medieval Europe. One can argue that without the Moorish intermediaries, the Renaissance might have been considerably delayed or altered in its nature. In addition to sciences and philosophy, the Moors and the other Islamic empires also made significant strides in medicine. While Baghdad boasted physicians like Al-Razi, Rhazes, and Ibn Sina, Avicenna, whose medical texts were standard references for centuries, the Moors were pioneers in their own right. Al-Zahrawi, Abulcasis, of Córdoba, often hailed as the father of modern surgery, compiled an extensive medical encyclopedia that influenced both Muslim and European medical practice for generations. Yet, what perhaps distinguishes the Moors is their remarkable architectural and artistic achievements, which differed from those in Cairo and Baghdad. The grandeur of the Great Mosque of Córdoba, the intricate designs of the Alhambra Palace in Granada, and the innovative water management systems in their cities stand testament to their engineering prowess and aesthetic sensibilities. These structures, adorned with intricate arabesques and calligraphy, were not merely functional spaces but poignant expressions of a civilization that placed high value on beauty, harmony, and spirituality. When comparing their achievements, it's also crucial to acknowledge the different socio-political contexts. The Abbasid Caliphate and Fatimid Caliphate often operated under more centralized and cohesive political structures. In contrast, Al-Andalus experienced periods of fragmentation and regional autonomy, especially after the collapse of the Caliphate of Córdoba. This fragmented political landscape occasionally disrupted the continuous flow of intellectual and cultural endeavors, yet also fostered a competitive atmosphere where smaller kingdoms sought to outshine each other in patronage of the arts and sciences. In reflecting upon these similarities and differences, one must recognize that the Moors were not just passive recipients of Eastern Islamic influences. They actively engaged with and adapted these influences to their unique context, ultimately playing a vital role in weaving the rich tapestry of human civilization. Their unique position as a bridge between the Islamic East and Christian West allowed them to facilitate a cross-pollination of ideas that would resonate through the centuries, seeding the eventual flowering of the European Renaissance. Let us then, as seekers of truth and harmony, delve deeper into this comparative exploration, appreciating how the Moors, alongside their counterparts in Baghdad and Cairo, illuminated eras of human history with brilliance and wisdom. My dear reader, as we delve into the hidden history of the Moors, we must not overlook the vital contributions brought to light by the archaeological finds over the centuries. Indeed, what revelations lie beneath the dust and debris of forgotten ruins, offering glimpses into a once flourishing civilization. It is in these remnants of the past that we encounter the profound legacy left behind by the Moors, who once held sway over vast regions of the Iberian Peninsula. Consider, for instance, the Great Mosque of Córdoba, a marvel of architectural ingenuity and a testament to the Moorish craftsmanship and piety. Built during the height of the Umayyad rule in Spain, this grand mosque, known as the Mezquita Catedral, illuminates more than just its stunning architecture. It is a symbol of spiritual devotion and an embodiment of communal identity. The intricate arches, the forest of columns, and the elaborate ornamentation present a space where the heavens seemed to touch the earth, a sanctum where the divine seemed almost palpable. This magnificent edifice did not merely serve as a place of worship but also as a hub of learning and a seat of wisdom, where scholars of diverse backgrounds gathered. It stands today, not merely as a historical structure, but as a living testimony to the rich and intricate tapestry woven by the Moors. Explore its halls, and one can almost hear the echoing footsteps of ages past, of men and women immersed in scholarly pursuit and spiritual reflection. Another seminal discovery is Medinat al-Zahra, often hailed as the Versailles of the Islamic world. Constructed at the behest of Abd ar-Rahman III, this palatial city was intended as a manifestation of the Caliphate's power and splendor. Yet, beyond its immediate grandeur, Medinat al-Zahra offers invaluable insights into the political and social life of the period. Its ruins tell a story of affluence, refinement, and the intricate art of governance that characterized the Moorish rule. Wandering through the remains of Medinat al-Zahra, one can envisage the opulence that once was. The splendor of its sprawling gardens, sparkling fountains, and ornate halls resonate with the whispered elegance of a bygone era. It is in these stones and remnants that we witness the grand vision of a society striving for the heights of cultural and architectural excellence, reflecting a civilization at its zenith. These archaeological finds are not mere relics. They are portals to the past, offering an unspoken narrative about the world of the Moors. They reveal a civilization that valued beauty, knowledge, and faith, infusing their daily existence with an enduring sense of purpose. Each discovery, each unearthed artifact, pulls back the veil that time has cast over history, allowing us to glimpse the marvels of a once vibrant culture. The significance of these discoveries extends beyond their immediate historical context. They serve as bridges connecting us to a past that echoes with lessons of coexistence and enlightenment. By unearthing and preserving these treasures, we are invited to partake in the ongoing dialogue between past and present, appreciating the intricate dance of history that shapes our world today. Through these remnants, the legacy of the Moors continues to inspire and instruct, guiding us toward a deeper understanding of our shared heritage and the boundless possibilities of human achievement. If one's reading of history remains unchallenged, it may well be that one has only skimmed the surface, C.S. Lewis once opined, and in this spirit, let us delve into the academic debates surrounding the Moors' influence. Far from being a monolithic narrative, the story of the Moors is a vibrant tapestry, woven together with threads of historical discoveries, each casting light in different hues upon our understanding. Scholars remain divided, and rightly so, on the true nature and extent of this influence. Each archaeological find seems to whisper secrets from the past, and it is here, in these whispers, that academic rigor meets fascination. Consider, For instance, the magnificent Great Mosque of Córdoba, a marvel of engineering and artistry. Traditionalists assert this as a testament to Moorish contribution to Western architecture, a beacon of Islamic brilliance in medieval Europe. Yet, there are voices that question this singular narrative, postulating instead that its grandeur is a synthesis of multiple cultural influences, not purely Moorish. The mosque, they argue, is a palimpsest of Roman and Visigothic legacies with an overlay of Islamic innovation. Similarly, the discovery of Medinat al-Zahra, the lavish palace city near Córdoba, stirs debates among historians. Traditional interpretations hail it as the epitome of Moorish opulence and administrative prowess. In contrast, some academics present it as evidence of unsustainable extravagance, a symbol of disconnect between the ruling class and the common people, which eventually contributed to the decline of Moorish power. This dichotomy invites us to ponder whether it was a golden age or a gilded one, masking fragility under layers of splendor. Even the very notion of convivencia, the peaceful coexistence of Muslims, Christians, and Jews in Moorish Spain, does not escape scrutiny. Romanticized by some as a utopian era of interfaith harmony, it is concurrently critiqued by others who caution against idealizing the past. They highlight that coexistence does not equate to equality and remind us that periods of coexistence were punctuated by bouts of tension and conflict. One of the most profound debates centers on the intellectual tradition in Moorish Spain. The contributions of towering figures like Averroes and Maimonides have often been heralded as the bridge that brought classical knowledge into medieval Europe. Yet, skeptics point out that this narrative tends to overshadow the contributions of non-Moorish scholars and suggests that European intellectual awakening was a more complex phenomenon. The transmission of knowledge, they argue, was not a one-way street but a multifaceted exchange involving various cultures and civilizations. In these debates, one discerns an overarching theme: the struggle to navigate between admiration and critique, between an acknowledgement of contributions and a recognition of shortcomings. It is in this balanced view that the true essence of historical inquiry lies. To paint the Moors with a single brushstroke would be to undermine the richness of their legacy. As we navigate these discussions, it is crucial to adopt a spirit of inquiry imbued with humility. Our understanding of the past must remain dynamic, open to revision as new evidence emerges. Indeed, as Lewis might advise, let us be ever wary of our own certainties, for the beauty of truth often unfolds in the dance of perspectives, in the ever-evolving dialogue between what was, what is, and what yet may be discovered. In the quiet recesses of history, we often encounter moments so extraordinary that they seem to transcend the boundaries of natural law. The tale of the Moors is generously sprinkled with such instances, episodes where science and culture intertwined to produce marvels that whispered of the miraculous. Consider, for instance, the astronomical knowledge of the Moors, whose observations and instruments appeared almost otherworldly to their contemporaries. The astrolabe, a gleaming brass device capable of charting the stars and planets, was a creation of such remarkable precision that it seemed to beckon from the realm of enchantment. To the untrained eye, it was more than a scientific tool. It was a portal to the cosmos, offering glimpses of the divine order etched in the heavens. Tales abound of physicians who harnessed the healing arts in ways that appeared miraculous to those who witnessed their work. The famed Dr. al-Zahrawi, often referred to as the father of modern surgery, authored a compendium that included descriptions of complex procedures, from the extraction of cataracts to the suturing of wounds with catgut. Imagine the awe of patients and onlookers as these methods, seemingly plucked from the realm of sorcery, restored sight and mended the broken. It was as if the hands of the healer held not only skill but a touch of the divine. Moorish architecture, too, carries this sense of the miraculous. The Great Mosque of Córdoba, with its forest of arches and grandiose scope, stands as a testament to the architectural brilliance that bordered on the mystical. The symmetry and intricacy of its design prompted gasps of wonder, as the structure invited both the faithful and the curious into a space where the earthly and the heavenly seemed to converge. It was in such places that the line between engineered marvel and miraculous wonder blurred. Then, there were the gardens of Al-Andalus, verdant spaces meticulously designed to blend nature and human artistry. The irrigation systems, which transported water against the odds of geography, appeared as conjuring. Water itself, often a scarce commodity in the arid landscapes, flowed effortlessly through channels, fountains, and pools, creating oases of fertility and beauty. These gardens were seen as earthly paradises, where the hands of the gardeners worked in concert with whispers of the divine. Even in the realm of pure thought, the Moors astonished. Philosophers like Averroes delved into the nature of existence, the structure of the universe, and the mysteries of the soul, presenting ideas that were so advanced they seemed illuminated by a light beyond mere human reasoning. Their writings, intricate and profound, invited minds to wander into the realms of the metaphysical and the divine, suggesting that the pursuit of knowledge itself was a sacred journey. These events and accomplishments, though rooted in the tangible world of science, technology, and thought, were perceived by many as miracles. They were instances where the natural and the supernatural danced in close embrace, where the genius of the Moors created realities that transcended the ordinary, hinting at a deeper, divine orchestration. Through these moments of wonder, the Moors left an indelible mark on history, a legacy where the miraculous and the mundane were but different shades of the same hue, each reflecting the boundless potential of human ingenuity illuminated by the divine. As we venture into the annals of history where the Moors reigned, we uncover a tapestry rich in cultural and religious interplay. This chapter does not merely recount events but delves into the heart of how these interactions shaped personal faith and collective religious practices. Picture, if you will, a bustling market in the heart of Moorish Spain. The air is thick with the aroma of exotic spices, the hum of myriad tongues, and the harmonious clash of diverse cultures, Muslims, Christians, and Jews, each contributing to a unique, multifaceted society. Here, amidst the vibrant exchange of goods and ideas, a profound transformation of faith and practice began to take root. The Moors, with their intricate blend of Islamic teachings, did not merely coexist with other faiths. They actively engaged in intellectual and spiritual dialogues. In Córdoba, illustrious for its libraries and mosques, scholars from different backgrounds brimmed with eagerness to learn from one another. This city of light saw Islamic philosophers like Averroes not only preserving and interpreting Aristotelian thought but also infusing it with Islamic wisdom. Such endeavors had profound repercussions, sparking theological reconsiderations that echoed through the corridors of Christianity and Judaism. In this nexus of learning, Christian and Jewish scholars were no mere observers. They actively participated, absorbing and challenging the shared knowledge that flowed ceaselessly through the synagogues, madrasas, and monasteries. This intellectual cross-pollination fostered an environment where faith could flourish in new, richer directions. The works of Maimonides, a Jewish polymath who thrived under Moorish rule, reflect this synthesis. He profoundly influenced Jewish theology while also leaving an indelible mark on both Islamic and Christian thought. Thus, one could perceive how the religious practices of the time were not rigid, monolithic edifices. Instead, they were living, evolving bodies constantly enriched by the exchange of ideas. The concept of convivencia, or coexistence, though imperfect and fraught with its own tensions, allowed for a mosaic of devotions and beliefs to coexist and even intertwine in unprecedented ways. Consider, for instance, the way prayer rituals began to reflect this intermingling. Christians and Jews under Moorish influence adopted aspects of the Islamic discipline in their devotions, the regularity of prayer, the emphasis on communal worship, and even architectural inspirations for their houses of worship. Similarly, debates and dialectics that were integral to Islamic scholarship began influencing methods of theological inquiry in Christian and Jewish traditions. Beyond the intellectual and spiritual exchanges, the daily life of the faithful was equally transformed. The practice of fasting, the fervor of pilgrimage, the administration of charitable acts, all these were imbued with a renewed sense of universality and shared sacredness. It was as if the borderlines of individual faiths blurred, creating a shared religious consciousness while preserving unique identities. In this vibrant milieu, the Moorish influence functioned as a catalyst, provoking deeper contemplation and more profound faith. To walk the streets of Toledo or Seville was to witness an experiment in human coexistence, where divine presence was honored through mutual respect and the shared pursuit of knowledge. This chapter of history, though often overshadowed by the eventual discord and expulsion, remains a testament to the potential of harmony. It is an invitation to reflect on how, even today, the exchange of ideas and practices among diverse cultures can kindle a broader, richer understanding of faith. As we ponder this legacy, we are reminded of the words of the Apostle Paul in Romans chapter 12, verse 18. If it is possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone. The story of the Moors and their impact on faith and practice serves as a luminous illustration of this divine admonition. Through their history, we glimpse the potential for a coexistence that not only tolerates but enriches and uplifts. Cultural representations. The history of the Moors, rich and multifaceted, has not escaped the pens of writers, the brushes of painters, or the lenses of filmmakers. The Moors, with their legacy of conquest and coexistence, have inspired countless cultural representations. From medieval depictions to modern interpretations, the portrayal of the Moors reveals much about both the culture that produced these works and the ongoing dialogue between past and present. In medieval literature, the figure of the Moor often embodied both the exotic and the adversary. For instance, in the epic poem, The Song of Roland, Moors were depicted as formidable opponents, intriguingly foreign, and sometimes demonized. Such portrayals mirrored the tensions and conflicts of the time, highlighting the clash between Christian Europe and the Muslim world. Yet, within these narratives, there was also a sense of admiration for the Moors' valor and sophistication. This duality, fear and fascination, became a recurring theme in the cultural depictions of the Moors. Moving forward to the Renaissance, the Moors took on a more nuanced role. Shakespeare's Othello, a tragic figure of noble bearing and deep emotions, is perhaps one of the most iconic representations in literature. As a Moorish general in the Venetian army, Othello's character underwent a transformation from an admired hero to a man ensnared by jealousy and deceit. Shakespeare's work not only reflects the complexities of human nature but also the shifting perceptions of the Moors in a more cosmopolitan and interconnected world. In modern literature and cinema, the Moors appear with fresh perspectives and reinterpretations. Books such as The Moor's Last Sigh by Salman Rushdie and The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho draw on the rich cultural heritage of the Moors, weaving historical elements with imaginative storytelling. These contemporary works often explore themes of identity, legacy, and the enduring impact of the Moorish civilization on modern society. In the realm of visual arts, the imagery associated with the Moors has evolved over centuries. Medieval manuscripts often depicted them in exotic garb, symbolizing both the wealth and the mystery of Islamic culture. In contrast, modern paintings and sculptures might focus on the architectural and scientific contributions of the Moors, emphasizing a legacy of knowledge and artistic accomplishment. The intricate designs of Moorish architecture, such as the Alhambra's ornate walls and arches, have inspired countless artists, becoming symbols of cultural fusion and aesthetic achievement. Film, as a more recent medium, has continued this tradition of representation. Classic films like El Cid, and contemporary ones like Kingdom of Heaven, depict the historical interactions between Moors and Europeans, often emphasizing themes of conflict, honor, and reconciliation. These cinematic portrayals serve not only to entertain but also to educate and prompt reflection on the interconnectedness of our histories. In the tapestry of cultural representation, the Moors stand out as a testament to the richness and complexity of human history. Their depictions in art, literature, and film reveal the evolving dialogue between civilizations and the enduring fascination with a people who once bridged the worlds of East and West. It is through these cultural lenses that we may continue to explore and appreciate the manifold contributions of the Moors to our shared heritage. As we draw to the conclusion of our exploration into the hidden history of the Moors, it is essential to recap the key aspects of their fascinating and multifaceted legacy. Throughout our journey, we have uncovered the profound impact the Moors had on culture, religion, and knowledge. From their origins in North Africa to their settlement in the Iberian Peninsula, the Moors were not merely conquerors but also cultivators of a rich and diverse cultural tapestry. Their contributions in fields such as architecture, philosophy, and science were monumental, leaving an indelible mark on European civilization. The Great Mosque of Córdoba and Medinat al-Zahra are just two examples of their architectural prowess and artistic innovation, standing as testaments to their sophisticated craftsmanship and visionary ambition. On the religious front, the coexistence, or convivencia, of Muslims, Christians, and Jews under Moorish rule created a unique environment of theological and cultural exchange. Such an environment fostered the growth of scholars like Averroes and Maimonides, whose works bridged the gap between different traditions and laid the groundwork for a more interconnected world of ideas. The theological impacts of this period cannot be overstated. The Moors' influence helped shape religious thought, nurturing a spirit of tolerance and intellectual curiosity that echoed through the ages. It is through understanding their story that we can appreciate the enduring significance of their contributions and grasp how this history can inform and inspire modern views on faith and cultural cohabitation. As we reflect on these themes, it becomes clear that the history of the Moors offers not just a glimpse into the past, but a lens through which we can better understand the complexities and beauty of human interaction across cultures and faiths. Their legacy teaches us the value of knowledge, the importance of tolerance, and the potential for harmony in diversity. We hope this journey has enriched your perspective and deepened your appreciation for this fascinating chapter of history. If you found this content engaging and insightful, we encourage you to subscribe to our channel, like this video, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Your feedback and suggestions are invaluable to us as we continue to explore and uncover the many hidden histories of our world. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the rich tapestry of history that reveals your work through different peoples and cultures. As we learn about the hidden history of the Moors, grant us wisdom to understand and appreciate the contributions of others. May this knowledge deepen our faith and enlighten our minds to see your hand in all things. Bless us with peace and unity, much as it existed in those times of coexistence. Guide us to carry forward this spirit of understanding and respect in our daily lives. Amen.